We'll call this meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reading of the call.
Dear Supervisor, please be advised that the Trempealeau County Board of Supervisors will meet at 7 p.m. on January 16th, 2023 in the County Boardroom. All County Board members' claims are due in the County Clerk's office by noon on January 6th, 2023, so they can be prepared for Audit Committee approval. Sincerely, Paul Severson, County Clerk.
Okay. Roll call.
Bridget Turner.
Here.
Stacy Klein.
Here.
Richard Seisha.
Here.
Lori Severson. I don't see
I
her.
don't think she's on.
Andy Todd.
Here.
Heather Fritsch.
Here.
Kevin Adams.
Here.
Dick Miller.
Here.
David Orsch.
Here.
John Austin.
Here.
Don Waldera.
Here.
Robert Becker.
Here.
Dan Schreiner.
Here.
Kellen Nelson.
Here.
David Larson.
Here.
Jeannie Nutter.
Here.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
16-1.
Certify the open meeting law requirements have been met with proper posting and notification. We have 11-item agenda.
Move to approve.
Moved by Mr. Johnson, seconded by Bridget. Okay. What?
Not yet. Oh,
I'm just wondering, do we need to amend the agenda to add? Thank you. Do we need to add amend the agenda to add the discussion regarding the committee members?
he's just going to do it under announcements, he said.
Yeah.
There
Okay.
won't be any.
Yeah,
Fair
under
enough.
announcements, I just put down ad hoc committee, which right now is 7 members.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or motion made and seconded to approve the agenda? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it's carried. Approval of the minutes from the last December meeting, December 22. Motion to approve.
So move. Second.
Motion by Mr. Seisha, seconded by Mr. Larson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it's carried. Item 5, Human Services Update on Economic Support Benefits. Debbie's here virtually. We also have
Yeah.
Dana Lee.
So I'm just going to say I've got some great staff. Good management is hiring good people and getting out of their way. So I'm going to let Jay and Sandy and Dana introduce themselves, and I'll let them take it away. I'm only here for answering any questions that they might have.
Okay. Anyway, at the podium right now is our new Deputy Director, Jay Hine.
Good evening.
Hine?
Hein, yes.
Hine, okay.
Thank you. So I'm from Human Services, and we do have some updates for you. We've got some information based on the bill that Congress passed at the end of December. And we don't have all of the details yet, but we're going to provide as much as we can, because if you have folks in the county who are asking you about this, as maybe benefits may have changed or may be changing in the next few months, we wanted you to have as much information in your back pocket as you possibly can. And like I say, Sandy and Dana don't have all the details right now, but we're going to provide what we know at this point. And then the federal government and the state government are providing more information as we go. So I'm going to turn it over to the experts, but Dana is going to start off.
All right, good evening, everyone. Let me see if I can get this set up here. All right, so the Federal Fiscal Year 2023 Consolidated Appropriation Act was passed by Congress on December 23rd, 2022. This bill decouples the food share and Medicaid unwinding from the public health emergency. Several food share and Medicaid policy and process waivers were implemented under the federal public health emergency. And since 2020, we've been waiting for federal notice that the PHE or public health emergency would end, thereby ending food share and Medicaid waivers. With the consolidated spending bill, the food share and Medicaid waivers are no longer tied to the public health emergency. While the public health emergency continues, what we call the food share and Medicaid unwinding, which is the elimination of the food share and Medicaid waivers, will move forward independent of the status of the federal public health emergency. quicken? No, I went down. Oh, there we go. Is this better? Okay. So one of the Consolidated Appropriations Act key provisions was the emergency food share benefits, which will end after the February 2023 issuance. So under the public health emergency beginning in mid-2020, eligible households have received the maximum allowable monthly food share benefit for their household size. That's pretty impactful. All eligible households have received at least $95 in additional monthly benefits, even those that were already receiving the maximum allotment. Those that were eligible for an amount below the maximum allotment for their household size received a higher monthly emergency benefit amount. There's some examples about how that was all calculated there for you, but states had to apply monthly to continue issuing the additional emergency benefits. Wisconsin had applied and was approved to issue emergency food share benefits monthly since about mid-2020. So in December of 2022, the most recent month that DHS has provided data for us for, $330,626 in emergency food share benefits were issued in Trempealeau County. While the emergency food share benefits are ending, at this time, no changes are being made to food share eligibility. Trempealeau County continues to have over 770 more food share recipients now than we did prior to the pandemic. So in March of 2020, we had 1,920, and in 2022, we had 2,692 recipients. So there are a few food share policy waivers that have been in place under the public health emergency that will eventually be reinstated during the unwinding sometime over the course of the next year. For those impacted by the waivers, it may impact their eligibility to continue to receive food share once those waivers go away. So one of them is the waiver of the drug testing requirements. During the public health emergency, drug testing requirements for members who were convicted of a drug felony in the past 5 years had been suspended. And with the unwinding, based again on a timeline that we don't quite know yet, drug testing requirements will again apply to all new food share applicants who have an initial application during the public health emergency. They will be required to complete drug testing at their next review. So again, we don't know, when that requirement will be coming back. There's a lot of unknowns as far as the timeline goes, but this is the process of what will be occurring. First, the second one is student eligibility exemptions. Under the public health emergency, specific exemptions were created to allow certain students to become eligible for food share. During the unwinding, these specific exemptions were for student eligibility, and those will be removed, and student eligibility policy will be reinstated. And the third one is the work participation requirements. During the public health emergency, meeting the work participation requirements as a condition of receiving food share had been waived. And again, during the unwinding, these work requirements will be reinstated. Certain individuals that we referred to as ABODs, which are able-bodied working adults, may not receive food share for more than 3 months in a 36-month period unless they are meeting the work participation requirements of the food share program. However, again, we don't have any guidance from DHS yet as to when these policy waivers will be ending. It will be occurring sometime over the course of the next year.
All right. So the second big provision and impact for the residents in, Trempealeau County and basically across the state of Wisconsin will be the end of Medicaid, the continuous enrollment in Medicaid. So under the public health emergency, annual Medicaid renewals have been suspended. The only reason an individual's health care coverage could be ended was upon their request, a death, or the individual moving out of the state of Wisconsin. So with the end of continuous enrollment, consortia will need to start processing the eligibility renewals. So that's going to impact our workload as well for our ES units in the 8-county consortium. So the language in the bill directs that anyone applying for Medicaid after March 31st, 2023 is no longer eligible for that continuous Medicaid enrollment. So DHS, they're meeting regularly, like almost daily throughout the week because this unfolding has been started to happen quite quickly since the Appropriations Act was approved. So they're meeting regularly. Our consortium manager is meeting with them to kind of get the impact of what that workload is going to look like for our ES staff. So what they're saying is once renewals are reinstated, DHS is planning that they will be distributed evenly over a 12-month period. So all of the individuals won't be required to complete their renewal immediately. We will do reviews individually, be distributed over the 12-month course, and things will happen. We don't know. Like I said, we're hearing, getting details regularly. Who will be the first to have their renewal completed? How will that be determined? So we're waiting for more direction from DHS in regard to that. That also means that members will be advised of the importance of not taking action to renew their benefits early. So that's also key. We're having individuals that are hearing about this on the news, media, and they're calling us. We don't want to do an early renewal for someone because that could impact them sooner than it necessarily would have to. Individuals will remain eligible until the consortium has completed the renewal. If they aren't due for a review until January of 2024, we won't take action to renew their benefits until they receive that written notice from DHS, directing them to do so. So similar to food share, there are a couple of MA waivers under the public health emergency that will also be going away at some point during this unwinding process. So right now, premiums, we've had certain members who would have had to pay a premium that were put on hold to retain their health care coverage. Premiums will be coming back for some of those folks. And we anticipate all of those premiums coming back in January of 2024. The MAP work requirement, that has been put on hold as well, and we're still uncertain when that will be reinstated for those members who are eligible for that category of MA. So another piece that is coming with all of this, this Appropriations Act is a permanent summer EBT program. So it's an electronic benefit transfer program for low-income families, provides a monthly $40 per child benefit that would be adjusted for inflation over time to assist families to afford food in the summer when their children are not in school. Children who are currently eligible for free or reduced price meals would be eligible for this new summer EBT program. Benefits would begin in summer of 2024. And one key piece to this is we will not be administering that program within our local ES units. That's done at a separate group at the state of Wisconsin. But we sure do get a lot of questions when they've done that program off and on through the pandemic, and we seem to get a lot of those questions because we have live agents available and our call center is staffed regularly Monday through Friday. But we have good tools to guide those folks and to get them to the right numbers or the right websites. So preparation is happening. Like I said, they're meeting regularly. Our consortium managers are meeting regularly with DHS to gather more information and get firm dates about some of the unwinding. DHS is providing funding to consortia to support staff working overtime because we realize and they realize that there will be an additional workload that will be placed on our local ES units. DHS has developed a series of trainings for all of our ES trained staff to prepare them for policy changes that will be coming with the unwinding. And they have promised and are working on a very robust communication plan. So letters to members, call centers, access is being ramped up to provide information for our customers. The webpage, messaging, social media posts, they're using whatever measures, they can get their hands on to get that message out to all of our customers. So that's it for us. Any questions?
I'm sorry. I'm familiar with the state having a plan that if a member doesn't do an enrollment, they automatically will be put into. Do you know if that's still the case?
Is that for the HMO?
I believe, yes. Yep.
Yes, so right now, if someone is applying for Medicaid and they're determined eligible, they will receive a separate packet from an HMO enrollment specialist that outlines what they need to do. And my understanding is, we don't do the HMO piece
Okay.
of this. If they don't select an HMO, they may get auto-enrolled in a plan. And it may not be the best plan for their family. And then it takes some time to get that switched.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't understanding that
Yes.
that was separate. Okay.
Sandy, for that food program, you said now they'll start being tested again for drug use. How often are they tested?
So that's the, oh, you want me to come over?
Sure.
So once somebody is enrolled in the food share program, they've done their drug test, they become eligible, they don't get tested annually. It's at the point that they lose the benefit again, if they do, and they have to reapply, that they must have,
Oh, but once they get what they get one clean bill of health and they're good for the. Okay,
they're good.
yeah.
Any other questions? Yep, did you have anything to add? Ms. Sukla, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that, letters are going to be going out soon. You might be hearing from constituents saying, hey, where's my benefit? What's the county doing? We want you to be aware this is all governed by the federal government and the state government. We're just following what we have to do. And so, and again, we have very skilled staff. Sandy and Dana and Jay are able to answer a lot of these questions. But again, this is going to be a big change. There's going to be a lot of people seeing a big change in their benefits, or perhaps not even being eligible for benefits. And that might make some people pretty dissatisfied. And we just wanted you to be aware if you get such calls from your constituents. So thank you, Sandy and Dana and Jay. You guys did fantastic while I'm out of the office.
I just have one question. If we do get a call from someone and there are questions, should I direct them to you, Sandy, or the consortium? Or, I mean, I kind of know some stuff, but I'm certainly not, an expert in this area.
And with things changing as quickly as they are, I think the best first call probably is our local consortium.
Your local consortium,
Yep.
Okay. All right, thanks.
You bet.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Resolution 6, rezone of Ag 2 to primary ag in the town of Trempealeau from Creasel property.
Whereas Brian D. Creasel, landowner petitioner, Trempealeau County, Trempealeau, Wisconsin, has requested the rezone of a parcel of land in the town of Trempealeau for the purpose of dividing it for a future land sale. And whereas the rezone is on approximately 64 acres, more or less, and whereas a public hearing was held pursuant to section 59.69 parentheses 5 of the Wisconsin statutes, and whereas the town of Trempealeau supports the rezone request, and whereas the Environment and Land Use Committee moved to rezone this parcel from exclusive agriculture 2, EA2, to primary agriculture, PA, and it appears that the zoning change request is appropriate under the circumstances. Now be it resolved that the county adopt the attached ordinance amending the zoning district boundaries as indicated, introduced by Environment and Land Use Committee, Kellen Nelson, David Larson, Randy Severson, Stacy Klein, Andrew Todd, Don Waldera, Anthony Munson.
Mr. Cornman, would you like to come up and
We got a
Move
motion.
to
make a
approve.
motion to approve this?
I'll second.
Who made the
made it?
motion?
Callan Nelson.
Okay, motion by Callan, seconded by Ms. Nutter. You want to update us?
Yeah, we had a public hearing. We did not have any opposition. We did have, I think, included in the packet, several adjacent landowners in the town of Trempealeau that were in support of the rezone. And so the town board did not object to the rezone also.
Okay. Any further comments or questions?
What is the reason for, how will this change it for the current landowner between the two zones, from exclusive to primary?
The main difference is a smaller parcel size so that a family member can purchase part of it, but not the whole parcel for their agriculture. They're very similar zoning districts. The main difference is primary ag is a net density of 20 acres and the exclusive ag 2 is 35, I think.
Okay. We'll call the roll.
Robert Becker,
Yes.
Dan Schreiner,
Yes.
Kellen Nelson,
Yes.
David, no, do you see what it says on here?
It's
I
yes
didn't do
anyway.
this.
It's it's David Larson.
It is David Larson. Well, when this got typed up.
State your name for the
State
record.
your name. David Larson. Was it yes?
Yes.
Okay. Jeannie Nutter,
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Bridget Turner,
Yes.
Stacy Klein,
Yes.
Richard Sasha,
Yes.
Lori Severson,
Yes.
Andy Todd,
Yes.
Heather Fritsch,
Yes.
Kevin Adams,
Yes.
Dick Miller,
Yes.
David Orsh,
Yes.
John Austin,
Yeah.
Don Waldera.
Yes.
17-0.
Did you get around attendance too now that she's,
What?
did you get around the attendance too now that?
Yes, we showed
Okay,
that sheet.
okay. Second one is rezone exclusive ag 2 to primary ag for Brost and Son of Unity.
Whereas Todd J. Brost and Jolene M. Brost, landowner, and Todd J. Brost, petitioner, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, have requested the rezone of a parcel of land in the town of Unity for the purpose of dividing it for a future land sale. And whereas the rezone is on approximately 64 acres, more or less, and whereas a public hearing was held pursuant to section 59.69, parentheses 5 of the Wisconsin statutes, and whereas the town of Unity supports the rezone request, and whereas the Environment and Land Use Committee moved to rezone this parcel from exclusive agriculture 2, EA2, to primary agriculture, PA, and it appears that the zoning change request is appropriate under the circumstances. Now be it resolved that the county adopt the attached ordinance amending the zoning district boundaries as indicated, introduced by Environment Land Use Committee, Kellen Nelson, David Larson, Randy Severson, Stacy Klein, Andrew Todd, Don Waldera, Anthony Munson.
Motion to approve.
Exactly 64
So moved.
acres.
Motion by Mr. Nelson and second by Ms. Turner. Okay, any update on that one?
The town does not object, and we, when we held the public hearing, we did not have any opposition to the rezone.
Any questions from anybody? Not? Call the roll.
I'll get it afterwards. Okay. Dick Miller,
Yes.
David Orsh,
Yes.
John Austin,
Yes.
Don Waldera,
Yes.
Robert Becker,
Yes.
Dan Schreiner,
Yep.
Kellen Nelson,
Yes.
David Larson,
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter,
Yes.
Ron Johnson,
Yes.
Bridget Turner,
Yes.
Stacy Klein,
Yes.
Richard Sasha,
Yes.
Lori Severson,
Yes.
Andy Todd,
Yes.
Heather Fritsch,
Yes.
Kevin Adams.
Yes.
17-0.
Okay, item B, Board of Health Committee accepting grant money.
Whereas, I won't say the second whereas, UW-Madison Division of Extension, Trempealeau County applied for a grant from the Wisconsin 4-H Foundation, and whereas the county was awarded this grant in the sum of $3,000, whereas this money is intended to support county educators in their work with Latinx residents involved in the Juntos program. Now be it resolved that Trumbull County accepts this grant award, and be it further resolved that this money, $3,000, be deposited in revenue account 101.46766 and expense account 101.55624.348 non-lapsing account, and allow Trumpealeau County Extension access to these monies, introduced by Extension Education Committee and Extension Education and Communication Committee. I didn't write this one, by the way. Andy Todd, Lori Severson, Richard Sasha, Kevin Adams, Don Waldera.
Move to approve.
Motion by Ms. Fritz, seconded by Ms. Nutter.
Oh, I think Andy was.
Oh, seconded by Andy? Okay. Any discussion at all on it? No, just,
We got,
we got the motion and second, I'm just looking, any discussion at all, or? Hearing none, we'll just call the roll.
Stacy Klein,
Yes.
Richard Seixas.
Yes.
Lori Severson,
Yes.
Andy Todd,
Yes.
Heather Fritsch,
Yes.
Kevin Adams,
Yes.
Dick Miller,
Yes.
David Orsh,
Yes.
John Austin,
Yes.
Don Waldera,
Yes.
Robert Becker,
Yes.
Dan Schreiner, Kellen Nelson,
Yes.
David Larson.
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter,
Yes.
Ron Johnson,
Yes.
Bridget Turner.
Yes.
17-0.
Okay, from the Executive Finance Committee, carryover from the 2022 budget for the purchase of a maintenance truck for maintenance.
Whereas the 2022 budget for courthouse projects included funding for a maintenance truck, and whereas this project was not completed in 2022, and it is anticipated this project will be completed in 2023. And whereas this project has a total of $35,000 remaining to complete the project, and whereas it is in the best interest of Trumbull County to carry over the unused balance rather than levy for them. Now be it resolved that Trumbull County Board of Supervisors to hereby authorize $35,000 in 101.51601.706 for the purchase of maintenance truck be carried over to the 2023 budget in the same line item. Introduced by Executive Finance Committee, David Larson, David Orsh, John Austin, Bridget Turner, Richard Seixas.
Now it's a motion to approve.
Now
By
there's a
Mr.
fight for
Larson,
that
second by Ms. Becker.
Everybody's in a
Mr.
hurry
Becker?
to get out of here tonight.
Okay. Any discussion on this at all? It was just simply something that just didn't get done last year, probably due to availability more than anything.
The
is. It
vehicle
was ordered, but
couldn't
it-
be delivered, yes.
Okay. Is there any comments at all?
That was it.
Okay, hearing none.
Oh, I thought her hand was going up.
Oh, okay, call the roll.
Kellen Nelson,
Yes.
David Larson,
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter,
Yes.
Ron Johnson,
Yes.
Bridget Turner,
Yes.
Stacy Klein,
Yes.
Richard Seixas,
Yes.
Lori Severson,
Yes.
Andy Todd,
Yes.
Heather Fritsch,
Yes.
Kevin Adams,
Yes.
Dick Miller,
Yes.
David Orsh,
Yes.
John Austin,
Yes.
Don Waldera,
Yes.
Robert Becker,
Yes.
Dan Schreiner.
Yes.
17-0.
Okay, second one is county meal reimbursement.
Whereas a resolution was adopted March 21st of 2011 and amended February 23rd of 2015, changing the county meal reimbursements. And whereas in-county meals were not allowed, and whereas there was, on occasion, a need to provide meals for special in-county meetings, including volunteer drivers, and whereas the meal reimbursement rate has not been updated since 2015, and whereas it is the recommendation of the Executive Finance Committee that meal reimbursements be increased, now be it resolved that the allowances for county meal reimbursements be breakfast, $9, lunch, $11, dinner, $20. Be it further resolved that receipts are required for all reimbursements and that no tips or alcoholic beverages may be included. And be it further resolved, in county meals may be reimbursed with standing committee authorization a month prior to any meeting outside the committee's regular meeting, monthly meeting. Introduced by Executive Finance Committee, David Larson, John Austin, David Orsh, Richard Seixas, Bridget Turner.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Nutter, second by Mr. Orsh. Any discussion at all?
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a way to amend this to be reviewed on a regular basis rather than letting it get to be what seems like a really extended time frame?
We could probably add a paragraph that this be an annual thing, sort of like mileage rates gets.
Either annual or biannual, maybe
Yeah.
it,
I don't know if I have to change it every, but annual rate change for fuel just once a year, so we could probably just go along with the fuel rate. Every January, we overlook this, add a paragraph to add like January.
You know, we was talking on whatever committee it was, but anyway, I vaguely remember talking about possibly looking at saying for meals, this is what you get. You give them that, so there's not such a nightmare when it comes to paperwork. And I'm just gonna say, you get $30 a day, you're on a trip, that's what you get. You use it, you don't use it, that's what you get. So there's less paperwork when it comes to receipts and stuff. Yeah, per diem. I think I overheard of that talking sometime down the road too, so Was that law enforcement? Okay, thank you. So that could be something that we look at too.
Oh,
Go ahead, Ms. Nord.
that could be complicated if you just went to La Crosse for a meeting and you just had lunch. A $35 per diem might be, but if you're going on a 3-day conference, I mean, it can be complicated, but I think that's, because sometimes you're just gone for a day, sometimes you're gone for 3 days. Sometimes you don't, sometimes meals are all included when you're at a conference. I know that most conferences, we try to include meals for attendees so that you don't have to. So I think it's a good discussion, but I'm not sure we're ready at that point right now. But you're right, it's been a long time, food costs have, it's not very often you can get a breakfast for $9, maybe at McDonald's, but I don't know.
I'm not sure that even that an annual review personally is necessary. Maybe it could be, but I guess biannual or even every 3 years or something to that effect. I don't want it to be burdensome, but I don't want things to get really drawn out. I don't know what these numbers were before, but if this was in 2015, my guess is we're a little behind.
They were just 8, 9, and 17.
Yeah.
So the 8 went to 9, the 9 went to 11, and the 17 went to 20.
It's pretty hard to eat out in public.
I need to make a motion to amend the resolution to add a time frame for a regular review of every 2
We
years.
could just add a paragraph,
To evaluate, is that a good word?
I would second that motion.
And it could come right after your now be it resolved amounts, and then be it further resolved that we do an annual review of this.
Well, she said
Biannual, perhaps?
every 2 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
It probably doesn't have to be every year.
Okay,
Yeah.
biannual?
Yeah, every 2 years, yeah.
Every,
Every 8 years, it's kind of.
Oh.
well, 23 just started, so.
Okay. How does that read? Did anybody,
There was a motion by Walter, we didn't, oh yeah, we did get a second. Walter.
We did get a second?
yeah.
Heather.
Heather.
Fitch.
Oh, okay.
Just a minute, I'm gonna write that down here.
You have a suggestion where it's inserted? I was suggesting right after the numbers we have now, 9, 10, or 9, 11, and 20. And that next line to be it resolved.
Well, I would just
Or
put
one
it,
more.
and be it further resolved, the third
Okay,
resolved afterwards, to evaluate meals every 2 years. It's a pretty easy one.
Okay.
I'll put reimbursement in there too.
Instead of evaluating the meals.
This one was a good one, this one's not. Tell you what,
now do you have it, the way
yes,
it's exactly written there?
it's going to
Sam, do you
say,
have it? You want
be
it?
it further,
Okay.
and be it further resolved that, well, it's gonna be at exec finance, so I better put that in there. Evaluate meal reimbursements every 2 years.
Sounds good.
Okay,
That
on
one
the
wasn't-
resolution,
No,
or
this
on
is
the
on the
amendment, I mean, on the amendment. We have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? Not? We can do this by roll call vote, right?
No, just aye and no. Yes
I
and
know.
no.
Voice vote.
Just
Voice vote, I mean, I meant to say voice vote. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it sounds like it's carried.
Yeah, you even waited for Lori. That was
Yeah.
good.
All right. Now, the amended resolution,
This is as amended.
as amended.
Any other discussion?
Do we have any other discussion on this amendment?
Oh.
Mr.
Just-
Parson?
Just one other comment on Andy's in regard to just so much. If my information was correct, that would then become come under a per diem, which would then become a taxable
It's
item to the
taxable,
individual
yes.
getting it. So that would be one of the other side issues.
So you get taxed twice.
Was there another comment?
You pay for it?
Yes, Ms. Klein.
Out of curiosity, why aren't tips covered in this?
I'm going to give you an example. We just had the instance that somebody gave their waitress a $50 tip. I didn't think we should pay that for a meal. you know, so.
They could do it.
They could. That's a, what do you call it? It's their discretion.
I'm a great tipper of somebody else's money.
I don't think
You didn't have any problem with the alcohol though, Mark.
When does this go into effect?
In about 5 minutes.
As soon as it's passed, it goes into effect. That was the question we had here, so. So, any other discussion at all? Not, we'll call the roll.
This is the resolution as amended. Don Waldera,
Yes.
Robert Becker,
Yep.
Dan Schreiner,
Yes.
Kellen Nelson,
Yes.
David Larson.
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Richard Turner.
Yes.
Stacy Klein.
Yep.
Richard Seisha.
Yes.
Lori Severson.
Yes.
Andy Todd.
Yes.
Heather Fritsch.
Yes.
Kevin Adams.
Yes.
Dick Miller.
Yes.
David Orsh.
Yes.
John Austin.
Yes.
17-0.
Going pretty good here so far. Audit Committee, members' claims.
Whereas the Audit Committee has audited the following claims and recommend that they be allowed as follows. John Austin, $1,071.25. Kevin Adams, $206.25. Robert Becker, $220. Heather Fritsch, $192.50. Ron Johnson, $271.25. Stacy Klein, $360. David Larson, $241.25. Dick Miller, $0. Kellen Nelson, $66.25. Jeannie Nutter, $302.50. David Orsh, $108.76. Richard Seisha, $247.50. Dan Schreiner, $253.13. Lori Severson, $0. Andy Todd, $255. Bridget Turner, $410. Don Waldera, $176.25. Total per diems, $3,300, and total expenses, $1,081.89. Now be it resolved that the claims be allowed as shown, introduced by Audit Committee, John Austin, Stacy Klein, Richard Seisha.
Okay. Looking for a motion for approval? Motion by Mr. Becker, second by Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Becker?
Yeah. Mr. Adi Becker. All right. Want to call the roll?
No questions?
No questions?
No discussion? Lori Severson.
Yes.
Andy Todd.
Yes.
Heather Fritsch.
Yes.
Kevin Adams.
Yes.
Dick Miller.
Yes.
David Orsh.
Yes.
John Austin.
Yes.
Don Waldera.
Yes.
Robert Becker.
Yes.
Dan Schreiner.
Yes.
Kellen Nelson.
Yes.
David Larson.
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Bridget Turner.
Yes.
Stacy Klein.
Yes.
Richard Seisha.
Yes.
17-0.
Okay, announcement of appointment elections. One of the things is appointment for Mississippi River Regional Planning Commission to succeed Ernie Vold. On December 27th, I received a letter from Ernie, longtime member of this committee and also a longtime member of this board. I think he was on the board 42 years, if I remember right, something like.
40. It
Was
was
it?
49 or,
Yeah.
it was either 49 or 50.
Yeah, anyway, I know he got an award at WCHA for longevity, anyway. And so I appointed George Brandt, and he's accepted the position, if that's okay with everybody.
I move to approve. I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to approve George Brandt for the Mississippi River Regional Planning Commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And also, the ad hoc committee for administrative study. The appointments, I figured I wanted a good cross-section of the board. I picked Heather Fritsch. I picked David Orsh. I picked Dan Schreiner because he's been on the committee before, and I think you were actually the chair of it, weren't you, before? I think you were. I picked Dan Waldera, and Mr. Adi Becker, Robert Becker, also Jeannie Nutter, and Kellen Nelson. So that should be a good cross-section of the board, and literally
We'll be done in a month.
Nelson, Nutter.
I don't think it'll go that fast, if I remember.
That's an even number, right?
Odd number.
It's
I got
7.
7.
I must have missed somebody.
I got Jeannie, Kelly, Heather, David, Dan Schreiner, Dawn Waldera. I missed Dawn Waldera.
No, you said her.
Oh, did I? Remember. And then, oh, did I say Dan Waldera?
State your name for the record.
Yeah. Okay, anyway.
Tough time on names.
So I'm just looking for approval for those 7 people.
I move to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Snyder, seconded by Mr. Johnson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's carried. Committee reports, it's the budget update and tax. You wanna,
You got any questions?
any questions? It's in front of you there.
I was just going to comment on one thing. If you look at the sales tax, we're only $21,000 short of our budget, but we have 2 more months of collections. So, of over 200,000 that we've been averaging, so. What?
His pen.
Oh, it's my pen.
What was yours?
So that's
mine,
this
no.
kind of a,
After
that's a
this
good
year,
plug.
Yeah, right.
You,
okay, where are you now?
next item is correspondence. You have a letter in your packet. I don't think you want to read it.
I'm not going to read it. It's
It's
just about
horse
the northern grain belt ports, which we passed a resolution a while back endorsing anyway. It got accepted by the feds, so.
He's
And you can
losing-
read that at your leisure.
He's losing his voice as the day goes on here anyway, so.
I keep drinking.
So, anyway, I'm looking for item 10, a motion to instruct the clerk to pay mileage per diem.
So moved.
Motion by Turner, seconded by Mr. Johnson.
Wait a minute.
Okay,
Hang on.
is there discussion?
No, we have.
Chair.
Yeah.
So for the special. Oh, yeah, when are we meeting? How do we decide when that is?
Well, you guys
You're
will have to
gonna
do that amongst yourself, you know who the committee members are, and seeing how Dan was chair of it before, I'll put him in charge of figuring out when to get the committee together, and you can
It will
elect,
have to be an agenda, so we got to do the,
yeah, come up with an
posting and that.
agenda, and then you can vote for your,
and your first meeting will elect your chair and vice chair
But-
and secretary.
in the meantime, I'll put Dan as charge of it, because he's done it in the past, so.
Has he? We've never had this kind of ad hoc committee before, have we?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did
Yeah.
the administrative,
Oh,
or the
no, this is, well, yeah, okay, the
county administrator, there we go. That's
There
what I
you
was
go,
looking for.
okay, yeah, yeah.
So this this committee is a little bit different. The last
No,
one
not
was
to plan,
strictly
as long as they don't
as
say anything more than just plan their.
looking for an administrator, where this one's kind of got both in it, so.
Any other option?
Looking at the different options. The other option is possibility is
Well, human resources.
having a-
director, too. That was in that.
having a executive who would have to run for the office, which is, I don't really like
We
that.
don't, we don't qualify for that.
No.
Our population isn't big enough for that.
No, okay.
It is an option.
It is an option, but
Legally, it's not. You have to be over. You have to have a
no,
certain,
there's about 8 of them.
you have to have
Yeah,
a certain population. I think the population is 750,000.
I don't think so.
There's a population requirement for it.
There's quite a few executives,
Yeah,
I know
but,
that, because I know there's at least half a dozen or
Andy
more.
Phillips gave us all the figures last time he was here, Andy Phillips. I think there were.
But anyway, yeah. I think we have a good cross-section of that,
Committee.
what I call an ad hoc committee, so it should be able to come up with some good suggestions.
Sure.
So I think we did have a motion and a second to,
We did. Yeah. We didn't vote on, we didn't have a vote.
so we just got to vote on the,
Okay, John Austin,
yes.
Don Waldera,
Yes.
Robert Becker. Yes. Dan Schreiner.
Yes.
Kellen Nelson.
Yes.
David Larson.
Yes.
Jeannie Nutter.
Yes.
Ron Johnson.
Yes.
Bridget Turner.
Yes.
Stacy Klein.
Yes.
Richard Seixas.
Yes.
Lori Severson.
Yes.
Andy Todd.
Yes.
Heather Fritsch.
Yes.
Kevin Adams.
Yes.
Dick Miller.
Yes.
David Orsh.
Yes.
17-0. And as mentioned last time, when Stacy gets back from vacation, you'll get paid on Friday.
Yep. The next regular board meeting is February 27th, again at 7 PM. Or February 20th, what did I say? 27th. February 20th at 7 PM.
Yeah, just read it right off the paper
Yeah.
and find that way.
And yeah, so this is not a record, but it's close, 45 minutes. I'm happy with this. 45-minute meeting. We can adjourn at 7:45.
Well, then hit that gavel.
All right.